All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to Hopeful Life. In this quick video, I just want to do just a response to what the brother Aharon said. I'm going to let it play, and you're going to be able to listen to what he says. But there's a word there that he says that's a very powerful word to basically explain, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And just want to just add my 2 cents onto what he said. So, gonna play it, and then we're gonna get into it. Right, and that's beautifully said, because remember what the apostle John said. All right, in the book of Revelation, he saw this. He said, and he causeth all. So we're in the stage, and we always bring this out about the word causeth. In the Greek word mean poeo. At this point, you got all these other camps that go around saying, "Oh, it's whatever. It's whatever their fickle imagination thinks it is." No, it's one specific thing that he saw. He actually envisioned everything we're seeing now. Did not Ezra see the things that we're seeing now and the things that's yet to come? Did not Daniel see all these things that's yet to come? Again, these are prophecies, meaning there are things that are set at an appointed time to happen. And then before they happen, the Lord sent his angels through the Holy Spirit to send to specific men, all right, to write these things down, so we in this incarnation could break it down, read it, and then tie it into current events, so we can understand the times that we're in, right? So when you go into that word causeth, that's the stage that we're in now. When the World Economic Forum comes in, and then they have these so-called meetings, and then they plan and decide, we're going to use AI for this. We're going to change how the consumer market works. We're going to change how payments work. We're going to change how people eat. We're going to change what you eat. We want to make people into different, inorganic compounds and so on and so forth. These are all part of the troubles that befalls the earth. Revelation 12 and 12, just to mention one quick precept, right? But the point here is we're in the stage of that transition that they've been talking about. All right, and boom, that's the word that I want to get into, which is transition, right? So let me just go to definition of transition, because you heard him even say the word change, right? Says the process or a period of changing from one state the process of a period of changing from one state or condition to another. It even says change, right? It says adjustment, a changeover, mutation, So it's a change, right? And that's what we're going into with Revelation 13 and 16, because you'll have other camps say that the MOTB is sin, but how could it be sin when, like the brother was saying, we're going from a transition from one way of doing payments to a new way of doing payments. The way that we do payments now is through cash. Although people mostly use credit cards, but you can still pay with cash. But what do you see Esau Edom moving towards right now? He's moving towards like the brother was going into the CBDCs, and the CBDCs is all about digital payments, the digital dollar and things like that. Everything going digital. So we're seeing a transition from physical to now digital, a change from one system to the new system. He also mentioned the prophets like Daniel, right? How Daniel had the vision, right? And if you understand or know about Daniel the 7th chapter, right? Daniel the 7th chapter goes through the 4 empires that would rule the earth, right? You had the Assyrian Babylonian, you had the Neo-Babylon Empire, the Medo-Persian, the Medo-Persian Empire, and then the Greeks, right? And between those 4 empires, there was also a transition. It didn't these empires just didn't come into power. There was things that happened, right, that caused the next empire to come to be about. Example, with the Assyrian Babylonian Empire, or if you will, the Neo-Assyrian Empire, right? Before it was taken down, you had a man by the name of Nabopolassar, which was Nebuchadnezzar II's father, and he was coming into power. And him, along with the help of Cyaxares the Mede, they worked together to take down the Neo-Assyrian Empire, and they took down Nineveh at 612 BC. That was a change from one empire to the next, from the Neo-Assyrian Empire to the Neo-Babylonian Empire. And then what? You also had things happen from the Neo-Babylonian Empire to what? To the Medo-Persian, and then the same for the Medo-Persians to the Greeks. So what? There was always a what? A transition, a change. Things that happened in the world that went from one empire to the next. So it's the same thing here with the MOTB. They are causing, like the brother was saying, cause it, right? Making changes in society to go from what? To go from one system to the new system, to go from physical payments to digital payments. And like the brother's going into, that is the word I want to focus there on, which was transition, to go from one thing to the next. So again, riddle me this to those other camps. How could the MOTB be sin when, let's just go to Revelation 13. Right? And he calls it all. Who is the he? The elites. Esau, Edom. That's who calls it all, right? The top banking families. And when you go into the word, like we always do, calls it, it's poeo. It says to make, to form, fashion, right? It also says to make ready, to prepare. So what? When you are preparing, that means you're going from, matter of fact, let me see something real quick. Because it's very important to look up words, because words explain something. So let me do something real quick on my computer. Ooh, look at this. Let me just put this on the phone. Matter of fact, let me go back real quick. Let me see something. Okay, it's pretty much the same thing. All right. So when you go to prepare, right? Because it says to make ready to prepare, right? It's literally the same thing here when you go into prepare. It says make something ready for use or for consideration. And you can see there for the synonyms, make ready, get ready. It says draw up, produce, develop, construct. It says conceive, devise, right? Think up. So what? They're devising things in society to what? To, again, change, to transition from what? From preparing the minds of the people, what? To accept going from one system to the new system, to go from one form of payment to the new form of payments, which would be, now things will be digital, no longer physical. So that is how they're preparing the minds of the people. And as we always go into, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. Again, how could the charagma or the MOTB be sin? So you mean to tell me sin goes in your forehead or in your right hand? Like it has to make sense. And it says, right, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the charagma or the MOTB, or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So what? You cannot make any payments unless you have now as well transitioned to this new form of payments. You cannot partake in society unless you have what? Unless you, when it says save, meaning unless. So unless you have the MOTB inside of your hand or your forehead or anywhere in your body, you cannot partake in society. You cannot buy things, right? And even when you go into that word buy, the word there is agora. Agora. And what do you do at the agora? The agora is the marketplace, right? Let me go to marketplace. And let's look up images. There's one picture. Oh, here it is. See, this would be a marketplace. And what are people doing there? They're buying things, right? They're going to have what? The transaction. What's the transaction when they, like my dude right here, even though you can't see who I'm pointing at, but my dude right here standing by the fish. He looking like he want to buy some fish, right? And in order, when he picks up that fish and puts it in the plastic bag or whatever, right? He's going to go to the cash register and what? He's going to have to perform a transaction. What's that transaction? That, hey, he gives the money and then what? They take the money and then what? He's allowed to, you know, take the fish or whatever that he purchased for. A transaction, a change is happening. And that's the same thing, again, just to give an example, that Esau Edom is doing in society. He is changing things, gradualism, slowly going from one system to a new system, to go from one system to a new system, which is, again, to change from the old system into this new system where everything is going to be digital and everything is going to be on this small implantable device that they're going to that they're going to make mandatory for people to take in order for you to, be a part of society, right? And even when you go to, just to go into that, give another example of transition, one example that comes to mind, but I don't want to go back to Revelation 12, is 2 Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. That's a transition from what? From one state of people ruling to the next state of people ruling. A transition. Again, focusing on the word transition. A change of things. And if you pay attention and, read certain news articles and see what Esau Edom is doing, that's what he's doing. They always talk about climate change. Well, yeah, he's changing things in the world to go from one system to another, right? Don't they say what, a new world order? Well, do you think that with this old world, how things are run in this world is going to be the same? No, they're going to transition to new things, a change in things. Another example for transition is also here in Revelation 12 and 7. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, right? That's going to be the armies of heaven, Michael and the other angels versus Esau and his armies. Verse 8, and it says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And when you go into that word anymore, it's eti. And basically it's the same thing. It says, the I definition, it says, of a thing which went on formerly, whereas now a different state of things whereas now a different state of things exists or has begun to exist. A transition to go from Esau Edom ruling to what? To Yahweh Shai ruling. A transition. Yeah. And that's the same thing that we're seeing here in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. That's what John the Revelator saw on the island of Patmos. He saw what? That people had to get this small implantable device if they want to partake in society. How do you partake in society, or how do you buy things now? Again, either with your credit card or with money. But what John the Revelator saw was, hey, there is a new way of people buying and selling that wasn't the normal way as how it usually was. And that's what John the Revelator saw. So again, to those who sit there and say that the MOTB or the charagma is sin, when you go into these words and you actually look at what Esau Edom is doing and how he's changing things in the world, your definition of the MOTB being sin does not make any sense. Because tell me, how are you going to buy and sell with sin? What are you going to say? Hey, I committed 5 adulteries today. Let me get 5 pounds of fish. Is that how it's going to work when you go to the grocery store? It has to make sense. I'm going to play the rest of the thing the brother says, and then that'll be it.
the point here is we're in the stage of that transition that they've been talking about for so long. And it's going to be happening in the next couple of months. They said by July, the whole entire states are going to be using something known as a CBDC that we've been talking about. Okay? And that opens up the door, like the brother said, it opens up the door and paves the way for the MOTB. Because now the system is set in place and that no man might buy or sell save he. So after the system is set, then it will be no man might buy or sell except use this thing, this new form of currency. And it's going to be only digital. It's not going to be, oh, well, I'm using my phone now. Bro, overnight, it's just going to happen all of a sudden, just like that. That's how fast things are going to roll. You see? So, hey, we're there, man. Like, we're in April now. And Texas, of course they're going to use Texas because Texas is kind of like off-grid doing their own thing. So if they can nail them and do it as a trial, we already know how the other states are gonna follow right after that. New York, LA, Florida, all these different states, they're going to flow right through that. But it starts with Texas because they're bigger, right? And they have their own kind of grid. They have their own way of doing things. A lot of the so-called Bible Belt people are out there.
All right, but yeah, that would be it. So that was just basically the point of the video, just to get into and to prove that we're going from a transition of physical payments to what you're seeing, like the brother was going into with CBDCs and things like that, everything they want to make digital. Because when you go to Revelation 13 and 16, that charagma, when you go into it, charagma means etching. Matter of fact, I'll do it one last time, or one time before the video, before I end this. Right, when you go into that word mark, charagma, which is basically what? An etching, right? A thin carved sculpture, graven work, right? When you go into the root word of charagma, it's charax, which is a pale stake or palisade, which is basically a sharp instrument. And what would be the modern day sharp instrument? A needle, right? And a needle is what cuts into your flesh, right? The same way, like if you want to make a brand on a horse, because if you go back where it says stamp an imprinted mark. And if you brand a horse, doesn't it leave a mark on the horse? Whatever is, on the iron, and you burn it on the horse, and it's on the horse. And then what? It leaves a mark. So it's the same thing like the needle. And if you, Lord's willing, I could do a video on that as well. Those who get the MOTB, I'm going to save that for another video. But it's going to leave, even if you look up certain pictures of it, those who have gotten that MOTB in their hand, it leaves like a sore on their hand, like a mark that that, okay, it's like, yo, did you get bit on your hand, or like what happened to your hand or something like that? So it leaves an actual physical mark that you can see on your hand as well. Right? So again, charagma is basically cutting into the flesh, but you need something to cut into the flesh, which is what? Charax, right? Which is that pale stake, palisade. And then the root word of charax is grapho, which is what? Right here, it says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record. And if you think about it, if you look at your credit card, your credit card has your money on it, your information, records not to be forgotten. Because if you lose your credit card or anything like that, all that money that you have on is gone. And that's what's going to be on the small implantable device. Again, the modern day charax would be the syringe that they're going to use to put the MOTB in people's right hand or the forehead or anywhere in the body, right? And when it cuts into the flesh, that's going to be charagma, which is basically, cutting into the flesh. And then what? That small little device is going to have people's information, their records, and things not to be forgotten on it. And that's how now, even if you, again, Slack, not trying to make this video long, but even when you go into movies, Esau Edom always shows you the same thing. It's very funny how certain people are saying that the MOTB is sin, but yet when Esau Edom shows you in movies, he doesn't show you that it's sin. He actually shows you that it's something physical that's going to be inside of your body. And they're even telling you it. Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, it's all coming out of their mouth. They're telling you straight up what they want to do. But yet you have foolish Israelites out here who are saying that the MOTB is sin. But yet the enemy is literally telling you what it is. It's coming out of his mouth. Like the saying goes, out of the horse's mouth. They're literally telling you what it is. So either they're bought and paid off for, or they're blinded. But Yeah. So basically, the MOTB, to make it simple for people, is going to be a small implantable device that will have people's records on it. Social Security, your money, information, things like that that you have now. You know, your ID, identification, again, Social Security. It's going to be on that small little device. The same way like your phone. Again, Slack, not trying to make this video long, but like I have Amazon, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people buy from Amazon, right? And I'm pretty sure you have the Amazon app on your phone, right? And if you want to buy anything from Amazon, right, you would what? You just have your information. It's already all there on the app and everything, right? You just got to press a couple buttons, pick out what you want to buy, and then bada boom, bada bang, you buy what you want. It's going to be the same way with the MOTB. All your information is going to be on that small little device. All they got to do is scan your hand or swipe your hand over the reader or whatever, and there you go. It just takes the money off your little device, and you go your way. That's it. That's what the MOTB is right there. Simple. Again, tell me, how are you going to buy with sin? Again, are you going to sit there and go to the grocery store and say, I've committed 5 adulteries, give me 5 pounds of fish? You know, it's gotta make sense. But pray this video is edifying and straight to the point. Just wanted to add my 2 cents onto what the brother Aharon said about, transition, how that's what John the Revelator saw. We're going into a transition, and if you're paying attention, you can see the same thing too, how we're going from physical payments to digital, going from physical to now the digital. So again, as always, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.